Hey gang, today finds us in Mariposa, California. We're at the doorstep of Yosemite, very intriguing national forest, as many of you have heard. Yeah, my glasses are fogging up because we are in the morning fog. We are just east of Merced, which is where a terrible crime happened back in the year 2000. Have you seen the movie Halloween 5? This is Halloween 5 come to life in the real world. A horrible story, 5 children, 2 of them didn't make it. The other 3 completely traumatized, got away with their lives by the skin of their teeth. And it happened in Merced. They're buried here. I'm sad to say I spent at the cemetery here 2 hours looking for what should be an easy grave to find. A gravestone has the oval picture. I think it's a stand-up. I cannot find it. We're gonna take a walk. Maybe we'll stumble across their grave, I hope. But I thought I'd share with you the story. There are some pictures I can share if we don't find the grave online. But it's a beautiful cemetery, well kept. So let's take a walk and I'll tell you this horrible story that happened in Merced. Yeah, it was back in the year 2000. It was a farm. The Carpenter family, mom and dad, lived with the kids. It was not in town, it was out in the rural area. It was the morning of August 23rd, 2000, and the 5 kids were all home alone, and mom had gone off. It was about 8:30 in the morning to get the brakes fixed of the car, and dad had already left for work early. He was a builder, so he was gone, and the oldest child, 14-year-old Jessica, was monitoring and babysitting, if you will. We had Anna, who was 13, VANESSA, that was 11, Ashley, little Ashley, 9 years old, and John was 7 years old. So they're home alone, and Ashley is in the kitchen, and all of a sudden she hears a strange noise. She looks down the hallway, and what does she see? She sees this naked guy with a pitchfork. Yeah, this guy has a pitchfork and he's coming down to the kitchen. Well, Ashley runs to her bedroom and locks the door, and he comes, tries to get in, can't get in, of course. What does Ashley do? She calls 911, right? Well, no signal. He took the phones off the hook. In fact, he barricaded the entire house from the inside. He was not going to let these kids escape. This was his fiendish plan all along. The guy's name was Jonathon Bruce. He's 27 years old. He was a parolee with a long history of drug use, a real creep, guys. In 1999, the year before, he forced his son and wife into a car, their car, at gunpoint. Took them on some kind of wild ride. And finally they were able to flee, and then he fled. He got arrested. But he was arrested over and over for drug possession. This guy was something else. He was a Satanist, they say. And guess what his favorite movie was? Halloween 5. Yeah, that's the one with the pitchfork. And I guess he was going to emulate the movie. So he was high on drugs, apparently. and he didn't care what was going to happen. This guy was 6'2". He was between 235 and 250 pounds. He was a brute, a monster who was ready to explode. And explode he did. Like I say, he blocked all the exits. Jessica closed her door. All of that happened. The 9/11 didn't work, so she ran down to the other end of the room. She went to the window. She jumped out the window, and she ran for help. She was barefoot, and she had to run across the cornfield, the stubble, cutting her feet up. It's terrible. But she did make it. The first neighbor, I think, wasn't there. I had to go to the second neighbor, called 911. Finally, the police were on their way. In the meantime, the madman went down the hall, and he saw Ashley sticking her head out of the door, so he started going after her. But then VANESSA, I guess, caught his attention in the next room, or he doubled back, and she was with Anna, and he went after them. And this is where everything went down in that room. And I think it was Anna that he flung on the bed by one arm when he got in there. He started stabbing her. Now, little hero Ashley comes in. She comes running in there, only 9 years old, and she says, you know, leave my sisters alone. And she goes after him. Now the attention's on her, so the other girls, they don't know what to do. They're frozen. Ashley's like biting on his leg, and this guy's like stabbing her. And she's not. She's a pit bull. She's not giving up. She's a little hero. And finally he threw her. She got back on him, and he had her head between his legs, stabbing her. And she looks up at her sisters. That moment she says, go. Go, go, go. And the girls flee. They flee down the hallway. Everything's blocked. They hear Ashley screaming, and they're hoping that she's behind them. They make it to the laundry room. Laundry room's blocked with a bookcase, and then the screaming stops. They wedge. VANESSA gets in there. She's smaller. She's pulling Anna through. Anna can't get through, and this guy's coming with the pitchfork. Anna's halfway through the door. VANESSA's pulling her, and he comes, and it's like a horror movie. He's got her by the ankle. It's tug of war. Anna breaks free. They close the door. And he's out there sweet-talking them. Please open the door. I'll be nice to you. Yeah. I'll be nice to you. Well, of course that didn't work. They barricaded themselves in there. Thank God at that moment is when the police arrived. The police came in through the front window. 2 deputies, guns drawn. And what do they see? They see the madman, the brute, Jonathon. Jonathon Bruce has a big smile on his face, and he is coming straight at them. Well, they told him to stop. He didn't. So they shot. They unloaded 13 shots into this guy. And guys, it was like the horror movies that he watched. He gets up like a monster rising from the dead, and he's coming at him again, and they unload the rest of the blast and put him down for the final time. Monster's dead. Yeah, unbelievable story. Now, sadly, Ashley was dead. He killed her. She had 138 stab wounds. And sadly, little John, he never woke up. He got stabbed to death by the pitchfork while he was sleeping. Head and neck, chest, 30 some brutal wounds. Little boy didn't have a chance. 7 years old, guys. I don't know what kind of evil there is, but it doesn't get more evil. That's what drugs do, combined with evil person. Well, it turns out that, you know, they started putting the pieces together. Who was this guy? And in the aftermath, there was a neighbor who told reporters, her name, you know, down in Merced, that he was frequently yelling at her 3 great-grandchildren, you know, neighbor, and the kids all played together, you know, with his kids. He was really mean. He's a part-time telemarketer, I guess. Lost his job. After his girlfriend took her children and moved out, things sort of went downhill, you think? He was getting angrier and angrier, she said. And apparently it all culminated with that brutal act. So, that's the story, guys. Cannot find the grave, so I will show you a picture of the grave. It's beautiful, beautiful stone, it looks like. I wish we could have found it. I tried to even look for people around, even tried to wave a police officer by, and she just blew right by me. She was looking at her laptop while she was driving. You know, when it's against you, it's against you, so we'll just take it in stride today. All right, gang, we have solved the riddle. We found their grave. They're not up there. That's the Masonic cemetery, and next to it is the Oddfellows cemetery. But I had no idea. I called the number, and the woman told me they're down in the public cemetery, way in the back, down by the creek, which is where we're at now. We were way up there. That was the Masonic cemetery, and up where you see that area, that's the Oddfellows. Down here, way at the bottom of the hill by this creek, is where you have to come in. So, their grave, plot, location, their graves, is right up here, and I recognize the stone immediately. So let's go up there and have a look. Yes. The back of the stone we'll look at first. I'm surprised there's no flowers or nothing for these two. Look at that. Carpenter with a prayer. Now this appears to be a family plot here. Hilton. So it looks like just the two. There's a massive family plot here. I'm guessing this is for the Carpenter family. And here's the stone. Yep. Beautiful stone. And I will show you the picture. Two little ones, Ashley and John. Because John liked airplanes. John William. And there is some words here. I'm not going to read it, but I'll tell you what I will do is I'm going to read to you. Here's another prayer here, or words. So you can pause and you can read this. But in the meantime, I'm going to read to you the words that VANESSA wrote. Many years later, as we look at the stone. Now, big long letter she wrote. I put that down in the description box if you want to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to read the end. She writes, "Thank you, Lord, for your hand of protection and guidance throughout the hardest time of my life. You've been so, so good to me. Thank you will never be adequate enough, Ashley, for giving your life for me 19 years ago on that Wednesday morning. Thank you for loving me enough to say go, despite your pain and suffering that you endured. That day you taught me the true meaning of an unselfish sacrifice. Thank you. Till we meet again, I'll keep on telling your story. I love you forever and always, Ashley and John William. Forever, your sister Nessa. Kisses and hugs. Hugs and kisses." Well, guys, a very sad story. And I guess the footnote to the story, as a family member noted on YouTube in an earlier video where she told the story, is that the reason this guy was there was because of jail overcrowding. He should have been in jail several times, and that last time he was arrested, he was let right out because of overcrowding. And because of that situation, the bureaucracy and government, these kids are dead. So hopefully their lives are not meaningless and changes were made. Rest in peace, Ashley, Danielle, and John William. Rest in peace.